All right, so let's just start out with just rolling your shoulders. If that is something your body can do and wants to do today, just start doing some backwards shoulder rolling, and then switch to forward shoulder rolling. You might even get your arms all involved. Just whatever feels good. You could also do it one arm at a time. Now, obviously, if you've had shoulder surgery or you have shoulder problems, as always, listen to your own body and not my instruction. Listen to your own body and your own body's needs above anything that I might say. And then if it's accessible to you, you may want to just stretch your neck a little bit. You can put one hand out to the side, stretching that arm out, just being real gentle with your body and whatever it needs today. And then taking your hand and pushing your head up so that your neck muscles don't have to do anything. And then just very gently allowing your neck, doesn't have to be a big stretch. It's just all about just allowing little bit more movement in the neck and shoulders. If you want, reaching that arm out to the side. And then lifting your head. And then if you want to, you can do some forward neck rolls. I have neck problems, and so I don't usually roll my neck backwards. I just do the front half of the circle, kind of rolling my head forward from one ear to the other. Just whatever feels good. And then maybe kind of doing a twisting motion with your shoulders, kind of like a backstroke. And then let's do a few like deep breaths and sighs together, really allowing the body to arrive. So we're going to take a deep breath in. And what I want you to do is really focus on breathing down from either the nose, if you can breathe through your nose today, if not, then the mouth, but breathing right down into the chest, feeling the chest expand slightly, but then really directing the breath right down into the abdomen. So noticing that as you breathe in, your hand on your abdomen is going to push right outwards in front of you with the inhale. And then the hand moves back towards the spine with the out breath. So in and out. And then breathing out, the hand moves inward. And if that's hard to get that rhythm, and you're doing kind of the opposite, you can lay on your back and feel that and practice that. And if it's not happening today, don't worry too much about it. So let's do a few of those deep belly breaths, and then do an audible sound if that feels comfortable for you. If you're in a place where you don't feel comfortable doing that, then don't worry about it. But it can be a nice way to like move some energy and clear out any stuck stuff in the body, just making a little bit of sound. I remember when people would suggest this to me, I really hated the idea. So if that feels really scary to you or you just don't want to do it, that's fine. Don't worry about it. But if that feels okay to you today, we're just gonna just do it on your own. Just breathe in. And kind of like that exasperated, like I'm letting all this energy out kind of sigh. Ah, ah. Maybe shaking the body a little bit, shaking up your energy a little bit. If you're feeling tired today, maybe standing up, and even if you're not tired, just doing some big reaches, making your body as big as you can make it. can stand, you can sit, just really doing some big reaches and then some sighs. So, uh, 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 whatever sounds your body wants to make and whatever movement your body wants to make. One thing I've been reading a lot about lately is I have a big interest in trauma and the freeze response in particular. How when we go through difficult things in our life, the body tends to freeze. And one way out of freeze is simply to start moving the body. And, a lot of people are getting triggered lately, a lot of trigger energy out there, a lot of fear energy. And we don't want to let that stuff get stuck in our bodies. So, yeah, just kind of keeping the body, letting the body move when it wants to. And, many types of meditation, they'll tell you, to sit very still and not move. But if you're really feeling like your body intuitively is telling you to move, I would always, always, always encourage you to listen to your own body above anything I say, please. Your body holds the wisdom. Okay. Can't emphasize that enough. And so just seeing if your body needs to move anymore before you want to settle in, knowing that you can always move your body later, doing any last stretches before we come into a little bit more stillness. And another way to quickly get out of freeze response or trigger or fight or flight or whatever you want to call it, um, is sound. So there's a nerve called the vagus nerve. And when we hum or when we tone or when we say the word om, it actually vibrates that nerve. I was just reading this great article by this woman named Ariel Schwartz, who is an expert on complex PTSD. And, you know, most of us don't realize that all of us have trauma to some extent, and we're carrying it around in our bodies. And now my AirPods are dying, so I'm going to switch out of these AirPods and hope that the other pair AirPods are not dying too. So I'm going to do that. Why don't you keep doing your deep breath and sighing and moving? Just really keep arriving in the body while I switch out these AirPods. And we'll do that.
Yeah, so much.
Hopefully these will be fully charged. So much of our trauma, or, we don't even need to use the word trauma. That's pretty loaded for some people. So much of the difficult experiences that we've each been through, um, we store them as this stuck energy in the body, and then the body gets kind of frozen and it gets tight, and we get all this pain, and we wonder where this tightness and this pain comes from. And it comes from old stuff. Um, all right. So I'm going to assume that if the sound is not good, people will tell me. And let's settle into more stillness. So find your spot, find your seated or lying down or standing up position. Um, and I was starting to talk about toning, so we're going to do that first. Actually, I find that like preparing the body and the mind for meditation, especially, I mean, I've been meditating for a long time, but I have a very busy, busy mind, and I find that preparing my mind for more stillness works a lot better than kind of banging my head against the wall and forcing it to try to be still. That's never really worked for me. So that's why I'm helping you prepare your mind with some movement. So let's do some toning because that will activate the vagus nerve, which is the hub of the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is the part of our nervous system that helps us connect to others. There's two parts of it. The ventral part of the vagus nerve, front part of the vagus nerve, is all about connection. It's all about relating. And that's another way we can get out of a triggered place, get out of that fear spiral, get out of that stuckness that we can feel. Um, is by relating and connecting and reaching out to somebody we trust. So that's another really great way if you're feeling triggered or if you're in fear or anxiety, is you reach out to somebody you trust, even just via text. Connecting directly is better, but um, and then the other way, there are many ways, but another way that you can get out of that fear response is to put a wet, cold washcloth on your face. That activates this diving reflex. And so that activates the calming part of our nervous system, actually. And then toning or humming, even if you don't like to tone with your mouth open, you can always just because the vagus nerve runs right down the back of our throats. And so we can vibrate it, and that'll kind of turn it on and activate those neurochemicals that are very calming and soothing for the body. So let's do a little bit of toning before we move into more of a quiet meditation. And we're just going to use the simple, um, the universal, mantra of Om. And um, I'm not sure how long we're going to do it for, probably a few minutes, and we'll do it together. And so I'm going to have you, and the important thing about toning to remember is that we're not so concerned with the sound that comes out. So, like many of us have a lot of maybe stuck energy or difficulty around like singing in public or making sound in public. That can be very scary for many of us because we think our voices aren't good or whatever. I'm definitely one of those people, and so I've had to really focus on the idea that it's not about the sound that comes out of my voice or my mouth. It's the sound vibration in my body that I'm tuning into. And so when I'm toning, I'm really trying to focus my awareness on the vibration in the body rather than necessarily hearing the sound, although, of course, you can't block sound. So you're going to hear the sound, but focus your energy and your awareness on where do I feel that vibration and sort of like getting into the vibration of the sound. And that's where there's real connection and healing with the body. And know that there's all sorts of cool biochemical stuff that I'm not going to describe any more fully than I already have, but it's all happening with toning, and it's pretty effortless actually. So, if you're feeling triggered and you can just go sit in your car or go someplace where you feel safe making sound, this can be a very quick way to shift energy, shift the mind out of a triggered or fear state. It works pretty quick actually. So we'll do it just for a few minutes so that you can get a sense of that, hopefully, get a sense of the feeling of a shift. So, first, what I want you to do is just ground into your body and just notice the state of your energy right now, or notice how you're feeling, allowing the eyes to close if that feels safe to you. And if it feels better to keep your eyes open, that's fine too. If your eyes are open, just allowing them to softly gaze downwards, I would encourage you, if you can, to not look at the screen just because then your attention's being drawn onto the images on the screen moving or me moving instead of on your inward experience. And, as you know, this is really more about going inward as we have plenty of time to go outward, but getting time to go inward is pretty rare and precious for most of us anyway. So, tuning into your own inner experience right now and just seeing what's here, allowing it, whatever it is, whether it's happy or grumpy or stuck or pain or light, whatever it is, spacey, anything, all of it's allowed, allowing it all in. And it might be many, many things, might be confusion. Just really seeing if you can just meet yourself exactly where you're at right now. Tuning into your breathing, tuning into the pattern of your breathing, just noticing the quality of your breath. Is it shallow? Is it deep? Is it ragged? Are you holding your breath? Which we do a lot of the time very unconsciously. And so seeing if you can just bring awareness, bring mindfulness to your breathing and noticing how it is right now without judging it. And if judging comes in and, oh, it should be a different way, or it's not calm enough, or it's not deep enough, or blah, 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 whatever, just just noticing the judging too. Just inviting in the judging as part of your current experience if that's happening. Everything's allowed. It's all okay. And then we'll do a little bit of toning, a little bit of Om, a couple minutes probably. And then we'll move more into a silent type meditation. So, in a moment, I'm going to have you breathe in and then breathe out. And then we'll all breathe in together. And then we'll start doing an Om on each out breath, remembering that the main thing we're tuning into is just the sensation of vibration in the body. And if the mind wanders, it's no problem. If your mind is very busy with lots of thoughts, no biggie. You don't have to fight it. It's not a big deal. It's just what minds do. You can just keep tuning back into the sound vibration. And if you like listening to the sound, you can do that too. So, breathing in and breathing out, and in. Noticing where you feel the sound. If you want to mute the sound of my voice, you can feel free to do that. You want to just hear your own voice. Breathing in again. don't have to match your ohm to mine. You can do the own your own comfortable length. Oh. And now I'm actually going to mute myself for the rest of the time that we're doing the ohms. And I want you just to really tune into your own sound vibration. Then we're ready to transition. I'll come back onto the sound. I'll turn my sound back on. Now just resting in stillness. Be in your body. Noticing the quality of your energy, just being in the body, whatever is here right now. Perhaps noting the difference between how you were feeling before and how you're feeling now after the toning. Just awareness of that. And then coming right back into the present moment, using the breath as an anchor to the present moment. Noticing the breath moving past a part of the body, whether that be the back of the nose, whether it be the expansion and softening of the chest wall, or maybe the belly moving in and out, the back of the throat. Just tuning into where it's easiest to tune into the breath. Observing the breath from the inside, observing the sensations of breathing. Allowing whatever else is here to be here along with the breath. We don't have to fight with other things. We don't have to reject anything. It's all allowed. It's all welcome. And then we just keep coming back to the breath as a way to stay in the present moment, because the mind wants to pull us into the future or into the past. And so just really allowing the breath to create this steadiness, this predictability, this nurturing stability in your experience. So simple, just in and out, in and out. And then you'll see that occasionally, or quite frequently, depending on the day, the awareness gets pulled out of the present moment and into a story. And even that, not a problem. Nothing is a problem. There are no mistakes. It's all part of it. It's all part of meditating. It's all part of life. Just allowing that part of your experience, and then using your own breath as this tether, this lifeline, this thread to the present moment, always here, always now. And rather than forcing yourself into the present moment, shifting that shifting that way of seeing things and seeing if you can see it, is rather than forcing. The awareness in the mind actually really loves to rest in something. It actually does find a lot of soothing and rest in something predictable. So seeing if you can just invite invite the mind to rest, like a busy, busy toddler that's been running around hyperactively. Just inviting the toddler mind to just curl up on your lap and take a little snooze. Just really inviting everything to be slower if it wants to come to a place of rest. You don't have to work hard. We're always working so hard, striving so much, trying to be better and better, and just seeing if you can just intend to accept yourself right here, right now, however you're showing up with everything that you're bringing, noticing if there's any parts that you're like, this is not allowed, this is not okay. If there are uncomfortable things coming up, seeing if you can imagine directing the breath into the uncomfortable sensations, giving it more space, giving it more room, allowing it, but giving it more space and more room. Noticing the tendency to want to turn away from things that are uncomfortable or neutral, even. And just seeing if everything can be allowed, but with a sense of gentleness, not like this rigid, oh, I have to force myself to stay with this, but more so with this very gentle, nurturing awareness, like, oh, and this too. Yeah, and this is here too. And this is okay too. And this is also allowed. And perhaps using a memory or an image of a person or a plant or an animal that you feel a lot of love or connection or peace with. Might be a place in nature in your home, And might be a person, might be a pet, might be a spiritual or religious figure, really anything or anyone that brings about a sense of okay or peace or comfort. And picturing this, whatever it is for you, and imagining that this place or this person or animal is just radiating love. They're just radiating this glow of white light, and it's for you. They care about you. It's a place, the place wants to nurture you. And you can just breathe in this gentleness, breathe in this sense of someone or something is caring about me. Or maybe it's more accessible for you today to feel the care or the love you have for this place or this person or this thing, this animal. And then you can feel how it feels to love or care about this. And breathe that in. And once you have a sense of that nurturing energy or that comfort or that connectedness, it can be any one of these things. Once you have a sense of that, and don't move forward in the meditation unless you have a sense of that. Once you have a sense of that, I want you just to ask inwardly, ask your wise inner teacher, are there any parts of me that need attention right now? Are there any younger parts, any child parts, any grown up parts, any past selves that just are needing some attention, some kindness, some love? And if there are, would they please come forward now? So just inwardly taking a moment to ask yourself that. Might show up as a sensation in the body, might show up as pain, might show up as tightness or stomach ache. It might show up as an image of yourself or another person. Just being with it, however it shows up. And then tuning into that sense of love or nurturing or comfort you were just cultivating a moment earlier. And breathing in whatever difficulty, breathing in whatever hardship or challenge or emotion this former self or present self is experiencing. Just witnessing. We're just witnessing something. We're not fixing it. We're not changing it. We're not pushing it away. We're doing something totally different, radically different. We're just letting it be. We're just like a really good friend, a friend who can just sit with you and listen and hold your hand. We're just allowing it, whatever it is. And if it's something that's showing up in your body, like a tightness in your jaw or clenching in your chest, you may even want to just put one hand on that part of your body. And if you're not noticing something in your body, you may even want to just experiment with putting one hand on your heart and one just really gently cupping the side of your face, your cheek, and your jaw, like we would do for a little child that is struggling. Just gently, tenderly, lovingly holding your own face. The energy of it is like, oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry you're going through this hard thing. It's maybe very foreign for some of us, maybe a really new way of being with ourselves. So if it's hard, that's okay. It's a new idea, new way of doing things. And so if you've never done this before, if you've never nurtured yourself, be gentle. If you've never tried to soothe yourself, be patient. It's a new skill. Anybody can learn it. And you might notice yourself rocking a little bit naturally. Just really intending to bring a kindness, a compassion, an understanding to whatever it is you're going through right now. Whatever popped up as a difficulty in the past or present, just really introducing the idea that, oh, I can be sweet to myself. I can nurture myself even though that may feel inaccessible right now. We can practice something. We can plant a seed and then we can water it and it will eventually grow. Yeah. Maybe your body wants to make little circles. Maybe your upper body wants to go in little circles, or it wants to sway, or maybe it wants to go back and forth, or maybe it wants to be still. So, this is your inner guide you're tuning into. Maybe your hands want to be placed differently or not on the body at all. Trusting that inner guide, tuning into it. And if it just feels confused, just really being patient with that. We're very trained out of trusting our own inner tuition, our own inner guide. Very trained out of that as children. So it's a bit of a project tuning back into that inner voice. It's okay. We can all learn it. We all have access. Just sometimes take some time. Yeah. And now, just going to take a moment to dedicate our practice today. So much gratitude for each of you showing up and taking the time to go inward. It is truly each one of us doing the practice, not to become good meditators, but to start to show up with ourselves in a kinder way, to start to have more compassion and eventually love even for ourselves. Because when we bring kindness and compassion to our own inner world, those vibrations, they will travel outwards. They will affect other people. They will change the whole world. Self compassion is the balm that our world is needing right now. And by showing up and practicing noticing the mind and when it jumps to judgment and mean words towards ourselves, just by starting to notice that, even if that's real strong for you these days, it's got to start with awareness because if you're not aware, it's going on in the background all the time. So, so much gratitude, such a deep bow to each one of your inner journeys. So much gratitude that you would take the time to show up and be with yourself and practice gentleness and kindness towards yourselves, and really knowing that this practice is the thing that we each need to do. Any spiritual practice, any practice, not just meditation, any practice that wakes us up and helps us allow in these shadow parts, these parts we've been rejecting. So may the fruits of our practice today, all of us collectively doing this together, connected through this beautiful energetic web we're weaving. May our collective energy spread outwards to limitless places and help to end the suffering of all beings everywhere. Such a deep bow to each one of you. Thank you. Get so much out of practicing with you each week. It's such a good support for my practice too, for our practice. So if anybody has any questions, yeah, I went a little bit over today. So if you need to jump off, I understand. Sorry about going over. And we've got about 8 minutes or so if anybody has any questions. You're welcome, Kathleen and Nancy. Sue, are these sessions recorded that we can do them again on our own time? Absolutely. Yep. If you go to the Monona, to find it, I usually just Google Monona Terrace meditation, and that should pretty easily and quickly take you to the page where you can click on the recording. So yeah, they're all recorded
Once
on
you get on
video.
that page, I would just suggest scrolling down because they are a little bit down on the page of the meditation page.
Yep. You're welcome, Pam. I'm glad you like the parts work. Yeah, I find it very useful too. You're welcome, Nina and Diane. Yeah, I missed it too. Linda, thank you. Graciela, thank you. And Sue, thank you. And Luciana, thank you. Thank you guys. So great to be with you. See you next week. And yeah, really see about toning this week, maybe. See about, catching yourself when you're triggered or caught in a state of fear, or, you just watch the news or whatever. And just try like 2 minutes of toning and see how it shifts your consciousness. It's really, I've been playing around with it a lot. It's a really cool, quick way to shift an energy state. Not that we're trying to reject or get rid of anything, but more so just, you know, um, we want to bring a certain energy, and we want to connect with our own highest wisdom, and sometimes that's really inaccessible if we're feeling traumatized or triggered. So you can use that toning trick to, ground a little bit. So try that and see what you think. I'll see you next week.